Now let us solve the question number 15, which says that G be a group and AB belongs to G. Which of the following statement is necessarily true? So I have to find out the correct option. First statement says that, first option says that there exists a positive integer n such that a to the power n is equal to b to the power n. A b inverse equal to a inverse b inverse. Order of AB is equal to order of B, and none of this. Okay, I know that actually for any group order of AB is equal to order of B. So C is the correct option. And if you choose G be a group, for option A you can choose G equal to Z plus. Okay. Now A equal to 2 and B equal to 3. Then A to the power n, that is equal to 2 to the power n, not equal to 3 to the power n for any n. Then option A is wrong. And we know that A B inverse equal to A inverse B inverse hold if and only the group is commutative. As here nothing is mentioned, nothing such is mentioned, so I can consider G as a non-commutative group. Hence option B is always false. So option C is only the correct option, and we know that order of AB is equal to order of BA. You can check it. So question number option C is the correct option. Now let us solve the question number 16. Question number 16 says that H1 and H2 are two distinct subgroups of a finite group abelian group G. Define the subgroup H1 H2 is equal to H1 comma H2 such that H1 belongs to capital H1, small h1, H2 belongs to capital H2. Then which of the following statement is necessarily true? Order of H1 order of G is equals to order of H1 plus order of H2. G by H1 intersection H2, and actually this is the direct application of second isomorphism theorem. Okay, recall, let H and K be subgroups of a group G with K is normal in G. Okay, H and K are two subgroups in G where K is normal in G. Then we know that H by H intersection K is isomorphic to HK by K. Now it is given that H is abelian. As H is abelian, so every subgroup is normal subgroup. So H1 is normal in G and H2 is again normal in G. Okay. Now using second isomorphism theorem, what I can write? You can see that here is H1 intersection H2 and here is H2. So here H1 is working for K. So H2 by H2 intersection H1 is equal to H2 H1 by H1. Is isomorphic to H2 H1 by H1. Now tally this with this. As the group is commutative, I also can write it as H1 H2 by H2 is isomorphic to H2 by H2 intersection H1, and hence I can say that these two groups are isomorphic and hence their cardinality is same. So option D is our correct option. Okay, that's all about the question number 16. Now let us solve the question number 17. Question number 17 says that let P greater than 3, just a second, let me zoom it, is too small to understand. Okay, I think it is clear to you now. Question number 17 says that P greater than 3 be a prime number and SP denote the symmetric group of P symbols. How many P silo subgroups are in SP? We know that silo P subgroup in SP is P minus 2 factorial. So this is our correct option. Okay. Now let us solve the question number 18. Question number 18 says that R be a commutative ring with unit. I think it must be unity. They want to say that unity. And let n equals to all such A belongs to R such that A to the power n equal to 0 for some n greater or equal to 0. Which of the following statement is true? Now observe, first of all, it is observed that n is an ideal or not. Now we already proved that in question number 13, I think we proved that root over of I, right, is an ideal. Now here if we consider I equal to singleton 0, which is an ideal, so this is nothing but root over of I. N is nothing but root over of I, so n is an ideal. We have to find out the correct option. Okay. For this, let us verify whether option A is true or not. Option A says that any prime ideal of R contains n. Okay, so let us take a point from n. Let A belongs to n and P be any prime ideal. Any prime ideal. Okay, now they are saying that we have to show n is a subset of P. Okay, so we have to show A belongs to P. For this, as A belongs to n, what I can say a to the power n equal to 0 for some n. Right, as a to the power n equal to 0 for some n, I can say that and 0 belongs to P, whether has P is an ideal, P contains the identity element with respect to addition, so 0 belongs to P, and hence I can say that a to the power n belongs to P. What I can write a to the power n? I can write a to the power n as a into a to the power n minus 1 belongs to P. As P is a prime ideal, I know that AB belongs to P implies either A belongs to P or B belongs to P. Now, as this belongs to P, I can say that either A belongs to P or a to the power n minus 1 belongs to P. If A belongs to P, we are done. If A does not belongs to P, then I can say that a to the power n minus 1 belongs to P. And again, I can write a to the power n minus 1 as A into a to the power n minus 2 belongs to P. A same process, either A belongs to P or a to the power n minus 2 belongs to P. If A belongs to P, we are done. If A does not belongs to P, again a to the power n minus 2 belongs to P. And continuing this process n minus 2 times, I will get A square belongs to P. Either A belongs to P. If we got A belongs to P, then we are done. If we do not get any A belongs to P, then I can say that after n minus 2 times, I will get A square belongs to P. So I can write A square as A into A belongs to P. Now, as P is a prime ideal and A into A belongs to P, it implies either A belongs to P or A belongs to P. So it means A belongs to P. Now observe that I have chosen A from n and I have shown that A belongs to P where P is any prime ideal, and hence I can say that A is a subset of n is a subset of P where P is any prime ideal. Hence I can conclude that any prime ideal contains n. Okay, so option A is our correct option. You can see that option B is not correct, as we already shown that n is ideal, n is not equal, may not be 0, and may not be a prime ideal. Okay, that's all about the question number 18, and we have solved all the questions of abstract algebra. Okay.